Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And let us continue on with our favorites from the year from the Criterion Collection 2022 releases. And today, or for this video, I'd like to focus now on my favorite Criterion supplements. Now, as we know, the Criterion Collection releases have a lot of supplements that are part of the overall presentation package and the experience of the films that are being released for that given time of the year. But those can be supplements that have been taken from past releases, non-Criterion releases, such as commentary tracks, etc., or they can be freshly made or newly produced commentary tracks or supplements from the Criterion Collection. And so I'd like to focus, therefore, today on the supplements that my understanding is were produced for purposes of these new Criterion releases. So the Criterion produced supplements, just to give it a sense of, say, maybe a sense of kind of a scope, as it were, because I think if we're thinking about a number of the supplements that are found in some of these releases, you get different versions of the film, or you get separate feature films, etc. So, so rather than focus on those, because those have their own, I think, a great sense of allure and attractiveness, then for purposes of today's list, let me focus on the Criterion produced supplements. So I have 5, but again, there are so many to choose from, and maybe my choices could change depending on my mood, the time of day, the day asked, etc. But as for today, here are what I consider to be my 5 favorite Criterion supplements from this year, 2022. I'd like to focus first on the number 5, my number 5 favorite Criterion supplement, which is for the release designated by Criterion at spine number 1133. And the film is this one, Okja. And Okja was a great release, and it was from the great filmmaker Bong Joon-ho, and it had so many supplements that were, for instance, taken from, say, the Netflix-produced archive, etc. But there were some that were made freshly for purposes of this great physical media Criterion release. And one such supplement is a kind of discussion between producer Do-ho Choi and director Bong Joon-ho. And this is a great discussion between the two of them. Obviously, they have a deep understanding of the production of the film, backstage stories, as it were, details as to the genesis and inspiration for the film, questions and answers and responses from Bong Joon-ho and company. So this is a really great supplement, and you get into the nitty-gritty of the details of the production, as well as getting into the rhythms and the cadences and the great repartee between these two filmmaker artists. It's really wonderful. I should add, too, that there's a lovely way in which there's a description about physical media and the idea, too, about the identity of a film from the genesis of the production and the idea, the germ of the idea, the genesis of, or the inspiration of the idea, through the pre-production, into the production, and then post-production, all the way down to the final moment of putting the DVD or Blu-ray onto the shelf in order to signify completion of a work of art. I thought that was really cool. And so it's a nice little nod to physical media, as well as a great journey through the stories behind the making of this work, Okja. My number 4 favorite Criterion produced supplement is with regards to a film that was designated by Criterion at 1154, spine number 1154. And it is this film, which is Eve's Bayou. Now, this is such a great film, and this is such a great release from Criterion. There were a number of say, special feature bonuses that were part of this release, such as a different version of the film, a short film, etc. So I could have chosen those. But if we were to focus on the Criterion produced supplements, freshly made for purposes of these new releases from 2022, I've got to go with the one-on-one discussion with Casey Lemons, the writer-director of this work, Yves Bayou. This is so wonderful. I've mentioned in that discussion that I had about this release from Criterion how much I adore this work. I'd seen it many years ago, and it's never, it's always been there. And there's a sense of a memory and haze and fog that's actually part of the story itself. And so to get that perspective from Casey Lemons, and also to get the story behind the creative, the real bursts of creativity that she has on the one hand, and also the various ways in which she was putting this together, because we were reminded that this was her foray into feature film directing, and it's a remarkable feat. And that she thought about it in terms of a written writing or novel or screenplay, and that ultimately came into the form as this brilliant work of art, this film. And also she mentions too some of the challenges that she had to face, also some of the working relationships that were really important as part of the overall process, leading to the working relationships with the actors on set, etc. Some of the key changes and considerations made to the story, etc. Even somewhat late in the game, as it were, that still held true to the integrity of the plot, but there were still other choices that she had to make, or other, say, challenges and battles that she had to fight in terms of trying to get her vision. And what a vision this is. So Casey Lemons, the brilliant filmmaker, artist Casey Lemons, her discussion as part of this release of Yves Bayou. My number 3 favorite Criterion-produced supplement from the year 2022. This has to go to another great film, and then this is a Spy Number 1160, and the work is Malcolm X. And the supplement, there's so many supplements here, but the one that I wanted to go for here is the great discussion between Barry Michael Cooper and Spike Lee. This is such a great discussion, and it's so wonderful because Spike Lee and his personality shine through so much. There are many points, anecdotal points that he brings up in terms of the making of the film, which are so filled with a lot of information, a wealth of information and background in terms of the making of this film, which had its own set of challenges as well as its own set of artistic points of satisfaction, artistic satisfaction and triumph. And he brings up those points in very healthy helpings during this great discussion. And also Barry Michael Cooper, I should point out, he's a great interviewer, and it's a wonderful casual conversation. And when I say casual, I mean that has that great rapport between the two of them. It's like two friends or colleagues speaking. It's that friendly atmosphere, which I love. And he speaks too from the heart about how this film, Malcolm X, personally affected him, personally affected his own viewing and his family, and how it had that resonance that has lasted throughout his life. And so I found that, and to hear Spike Lee react to this and respond to this, and also respond to the way in which this film sits in the sort of pantheon, if you will, of great American cinema. This is one of the great examples of 20th century American cinema, and it should be celebrated and heralded, and its legacy just celebrated in that way. And it's great things like the Criterion Collection release, as well as this great discussion between Barry Michael Cooper and Spike Lee. What a great supplement this is. My number 2 favorite Criterion-produced supplement from this year, 2022, it goes to this film, or supplement associated with this film, Spy Number 1155. I love this supplement, and I love this film. The film is Cure, and the filmmaker is Kiyoshi Kurosawa. And I mention that here because indeed the supplement that I'm speaking of is the one-on-one discussion, or the discussion between Ryusuke Hamaguchi and Kiyoshi Kurosawa. And this is so cool. Hamaguchi, of course, is a brilliant filmmaker in his own right, and he has a film in the Criterion Collection But here he's speaking as a colleague, as an admirer, and also as a student or former student and of Kurosawa's. And so we have these entry points into this fascinating discussion from Kurosawa. A lot of it too spoken in hindsight, and he acknowledges this stuff, which is very clever as well. But speaking about the making of this film, this really brilliant, eerie, creepy, effective chiller known as Cure or Cure. What a great film this is. And Kurosawa speaking about it in these very honest terms, and he's very forthright, and he's also very earnest in his responses. And it's and it's also a little bit of a catalog into his own filmography as well, his own career leading up to Cure. So this also serves as a nice introduction to the world of Kiyoshi Kurosawa for those who are being introduced to him and to his works for the first time. So this is a great discussion, a great Criterion supplement. So the discussion between Hamaguchi and Kurosawa as part of this release for Cure. And that brings me to my number one favorite supplement, Criterion supplement from the year 2022. There were so many to choose from, I admit, but I think I was sitting back and I was thinking over the year and thinking about all the releases that I had the great pleasure of exploring, and one just stood out in terms of the feeling of warmth and the feeling of surprises and the charm and the wit and the elegance and the rapport and the brilliance and the genius all wrapped up in this lovely one-on-one conversation. And it is with respect to the film that was designated by Criterion at 1125, and it is this film, The Funeral, Juzo Itami work, The Funeral. I'm speaking about the supplement between, or one-on-one with Nobuko Miyamoto, who is a very important actor in the world of Itami's films and this film, The Funeral. And so we have this one-on-one discussion with this legend of Japanese cinema, Miyamoto, and we get her insights into the world of Itami and her working relationship and personal relationship with Itami, Juzo Itami. And so many details emerge in terms of the direct nature of the anecdotes and points that she brings up, also in her the word choice that she brings up, and the way in which she has a certain set of inflection in the word choice and her voice when she's speaking about Itami and speaking about her career in the context of his films. And so there is this sense of a really the relationship between the two of them comes through in the way and the manner in which she speaks. And a lot of this was so surprising to me in a very pleasant way. And so those, I think, that combined with the elements that she's talking about with this great film, The Funeral, is the reason why I've chosen this as my favorite Criterion supplement from the year. I love this discussion so much, and to hear her speak with such fondness and such clarity and such warmth and such precision and such love and admiration, and also a sense of kind of honesty as well. It's really wonderful indeed. It's so great to see her in the context of discussion of this great work, which is The Funeral. All right, so that is my just list of the Criterion supplements, some of my favorites. If you have any, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, my dear friends, we are continuing on. There are a few more videos left, so if you're still interested, I look forward to seeing you at the next one. But until then, my dear friends, thank you and cheers.